Good morning, this is Chris
and Brian
with Sight for Wight News for Friday the 30th of August 2019. Following the county press, there is a very special item for users of concessionary travel scheme. Please make sure you listen to this item. Tuesday the 3rd of September. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde from 8 p.m. till 8:45 p.m. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call Sight for Wight first to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House first to be able to swim with the group. There will not be a Knighton coffee and chat at Knighton Post Office.
Wednesday, 4th of September. The weekly coffee morning will be held at Millbrook House this week from 10:30 a.m. There will also be our low vision drop-in between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. This is a weekly event to allow you to view and try the low vision equipment we have at the Society without the need for an appointment. We will be attending the Independent Arts Sing-About session at St Mark's Church Hall, Wootton. The session runs from 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. It is free to attend and refreshments are provided. However, voluntary donations to independent arts are appreciated. Minibus transport may be available depending on location and costs £2. If you would like to join the Sing About group, then please call the Society on 522205.
Thursday the 5th of September. There will be a coffee morning held at Costa Coffee, High Street, Cowes. Laura will be there between 10:30 and 11:45 a.m. Refreshments are available to purchase direct from the coffee shop. The Thursday social group are meeting at Millbrook House. The group meets from 10:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. With the help of a volunteer, the group enjoy a number of activities: crosswords, catching up on news and trivia, knitting and crochet. They are currently making pom-poms to make into a blanket. This very friendly, mixed group also loves to chat and enjoy lunch together. Later in the afternoon, volunteers come in and read to the group on different topics. If you would like to join the group, then please contact the charity on 522205.
Any other news? Sight for Wight has the following donated second-hand items for sale. All items are in working order and are sold as seen. Optelec Clear Reader Plus with rechargeable battery in excellent condition with power plug, £300. RNIB Pen Friend version 1 with instructions and labels, £25. Radio cassette player, not CD, with power plug and instructions, £5. Cobalt speech marker talking microwave, 2016 model in good used condition, £80. Daylight standing floor lamp on wheels, so able to move around, good condition, £20. Enhanced Vision Smart Reader with control handset, good used condition, £300. If you would like to view or purchase any of these items, please contact Laura Jasper, members@iwsb.org.uk, or phone the charity on 522205. Raffle tickets. are now available for our annual raffle, which will be drawn on the 31st of October. The tickets are £1 each and come in a book of 5 tickets. Please contact Site for Wight on 522205 or email enquiries@iwsb.org.uk if you would like to purchase tickets. Visit to Osborne House. Join us for a visit to Osborne House on Monday 7th of October. Start time is 10:30 a.m. for approximately 4 to 5 hours. There is an outdoor picnic area, dependent on the weather, if you would like to bring a packed lunch. The self-service cafe sells light snacks, and the Gazelle House cake shop at Swiss Cottage serves a small selection of snacks and cold drinks. Cost for an adult is £18.50 and £16.70 for a senior citizen. Minibus transport may be available depending on location and will cost £2. Closing date for applications is Friday the 20th September. For further details or to book your place, please contact Laura Jasper on 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk. Visit to the Isle of Wight Distillery, Monday 11th of November. Meet first at 10:30 a.m. at the Old Barracks Tea Room in Puckpool Park Ryde, followed by a talk and tasting at 12 noon for approximately 45 minutes to 1 hour at the Isle of Wight Distillery, Pondwell Ryde. No charge for the talk or tasting. Minibus transport may be available depending on location and will cost £2. Closing date for applications is Friday 25th of October. For further details or to book your place, please contact Laura Jasper on 522205 or email members@iwsb.org.uk. Save the Waverley Quiz Night. Many of you will know of the paddle steamer the Waverley, the last seagoing paddle steamer in the world. There will be a fundraising quiz and raffle for the Waverley Trust at the Waverley Inn, Carisbrooke on Thursday 5th of September, 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. Teams of 4, £3 per person. Please call 522338 to book a table. Please note, this is not raising funds for Site for Wight, as some of you do attend our quiz, which we host at the Waverley Inn a few times a year.
This week's In Touch. The Politics of Power and Blindness, Part 2. In this second episode, our guests discuss getting lost, our own power as blind people, and power as a form of loss or grieving. This is the second episode of our series, examining the times in our lives as blind people when we are faced with a loss of control and power entirely caused by our visual impairment. Both programmes look at ways of gathering yourself, restoring your dignity, suppressing that sense of powerlessness, and giving you back the control everyone needs to be functioning adults. Situations like feeling loss of control because of access, orientation, and/or mobility. Handing power over to someone else over something you need help doing. Our thanks to everybody we spoke to during researching these programmes. The presenter is Peter Wight and the producer Lee Kumutat.
The Isle of Wight County Press for Friday the 30th of August 2019. Fishing disaster. Worried fishermen have called for a meeting with the Marine Management Organisation, MMO, amid fears of an ecological and economic disaster in the waters around the island, caused by dredging off Portsmouth and Southampton. Fishermen say this has been the worst season in living memory, and they blame the dumping of, by their reckoning, 10 million tonnes of dredged material from the mainland near the Nab Tower, 5 kilometres off the east coast. John Kennett of J&B Fisheries Freshwater has been fishing in the area for 50 years. He said, "There have been no small lobster since last August, which indicates they are not strong enough to survive in the amount of silt now lying on the sea bed. This will affect all fishermen, not just the shellfish boats, for the foreseeable future. This is an environmental disaster for the island's waters and an economic disaster for the island's fishing businesses." Ryde fisherman Guy Morey, who has also been fishing the mid to east Solent waters for more than 50 years, said, "In my opinion, it started with the dredging a few years ago. You don't see blooms of algae anymore, which the plankton feed off. It's a chain of events. With no animal plankton, the baby fish, like whitebait, don't feed, so the bigger fish don't come. This is a disaster for local ecology. I now have to go fishing at Selsey, the other side of the tidal stream." An email sent to the MMO on behalf of West Wight fishing businesses, seen by the county press, stated, "This season has been the worst we have ever experienced. There is concern throughout the fishing community of the ongoing impact on future stocks. The island is almost surrounded by marine conservation zones, MCZs. However, with the current conditions, as shown in divers' photos that have been provided to us, we assume the marine environment is also very much at risk. It would be very helpful to have your view on this." An MMO spokesperson said, "The Nab Tower site has been used for many years as a disposal site for dredged material and was included as a consideration during the designation of the nearby MCZs. The disposal activities referred to were assessed during the marine licence application process for those activities. It was identified that the quantity and quality of the dredged material was suitable for disposal at sea. All potential environmental impacts within the remit of the MMO were also considered at the time. In addition to this, disposal sites also undergo further monitoring to ensure their continued suitability for being able to receive dredged materials."
And now for other news in the county press. Court. Man threatened to set himself on fire. A man who doused himself in deodorant and walked into Newport police station holding a lighter, demanding the police take him seriously, has appeared in court. Ryan Bentley, 23, of no fixed abode, appeared at the Isle of Wight Magistrates Court last Friday, where he admitted 1 count of using threatening words and behaviour and 2 counts of assaulting a police officer. The court heard he went to the police station shortly before 5 p.m. the evening before to complain the boat he had made an agreement to live on, moored in Newport Quay, had left with all his belongings on board. Police told him it was a civil matter, not a criminal one. Bentley then left the police station, only to return shortly afterwards, covered in deodorant and brandishing a lighter. Vivian Ducey, prosecuting, said He returned to the station, threatening to set himself alight. Once he was detained, he became increasingly aggressive. He was put in restraints and taken through to the custody area, where he spat on one officer and kicked another in the abdomen. In a statement read to the court, PC Gemma Phillips said, "In the length of my entire service, I have never seen anything like this. Never once have I been brought to tears in the way this has caused." The court heard officers surrounded Bentley in the reception area of the police station, where he was sprayed with a fire extinguisher before being taken to the ground. Keith Verinder, defending, said, "He tells me he has effectively been homeless for 3 years. He did make a temporary arrangement with a gentleman to live on a boat at Newport Quay, but that same day he discovered the boat had gone and his property had been disposed of." When the police told Bentley that this was in fact a civil matter, he was so dejected that he got some deodorant, a whole can, then went back to the station to make his protest. He accepts he spat at one officer and kicked another. Magistrates adjourned the case until September the 10th, when Bentley will be sentenced.
Major seabed find rewrites history. Archaeologists have found an 8,000-year-old platform buried in the seabed off the Isle of Wight and believe it could be one of the oldest boat building sites ever discovered. The major discovery was unearthed off the coast at Boldner near Yarmouth. Director of the Maritime Archaeological Trust, Gary Momber, said, "This discovery is key to understanding human dispersal and colonisation following the Ice Age, and the platform seems to display a high level of technical ability. This site is rewriting the history books. The discovery suggests early islanders may have been trading in wheat 2,000 years earlier than was thought. It was first discovered in 1987, but due to the extreme cost and effort to excavate the site, teams have been unable to properly research it until now." Gary, who hopes to secure support for further research, said, "This is the most significant site of its kind in the country, and it's eroding away with the current. If we don't act fast, a fundamental part of our history could be gone within a few years." The research team now hope to preserve the site and display findings from it at the Shipwreck Centre at Arraton Barnes.
Families tribute to crash heroes. A Newport man who lost his wife in the fatal bus crash on Forest Road in April is recovering despite being given just a 5% chance of survival. Derek Copland, 73, is back on the Isle of Wight after spending 7 weeks in intensive care on the mainland and several months recovering from multiple injuries. His wife, Yvonne, 64, died in the crash. Now their daughter Charlotte is organising a charity fundraiser for the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Air Ambulance, which she said she can't thank enough. Charlotte's brother Warren, 37, was also injured in the crash, along with his partner Richard Wheelsby, 33. The family have been through such tragedy and heartbreak. Charlotte felt something good must also come of the situation, which is why she is organising the fundraiser. She said, "I decided to do the event in memory of Mum, and because without the air ambulance that day, my dad would not have survived." People are not aware of the state Dad was in, and him losing his wife and us losing our mum, with our children growing up without her. The air ambulance was incredible, and doing a fundraiser is my way of thanking them for what they had done. We will be forever in their debt. How Dad survived, I will never know. On the day of the crash, Yvonne and Derek had been taking Warren and Richard to the Yarmouth ferry. Events took a tragic turn when their car was involved in a collision involving another car and a Southern Vectis bus. Derek broke both his arms and legs and nearly every bone in his body. He has since undergone spinal surgery and still can't walk. Warren suffered a broken arm and abdominal injuries which required surgery. Richard broke both his legs and sustained severe abdominal and rib injuries which required surgery. Yvonne, a mum of 4, would have been married 43 years in June, and her death has left the entire family completely bereft. Charlotte's fundraiser is at the Wishingwell pub Pondwell from 7 p.m. on Saturday, September the 14th. For £5 entry, there will be a DJ entertainment, a raffle, an auction with generous donations from local businesses, including Isle of Wight Festival tickets. Tickets can be purchased via the Facebook event page Fundraiser in Memory of Yvonne Copland or on the door.
Girls' tribute after losing 2 brothers. A little girl who lost 2 brothers in tragic circumstances has had her long hair cut off to help others. Demi McBride, 8, was determined to help after her cousin, Jensen Collis, was diagnosed with cancer, aged just 5. He has now recovered, but it spurred Demi on to grow her hair for the Little Princess Trust. Demi has been through a lot for her tender years. Her older brother, Mikey Mason, was killed in a car accident on Brading Downs in September 2017. He was 20 years old. Another brother, Harley Mason, also known as Harley Gervin, died in June at the age of 19 after taking an illegal drug known as a Punisher. Their mother, Bonnie McBride, said, "Life has been really hard. All that happened within 22 months. Demi had her hair cut off 2 days before Harley's funeral. She just really wanted to do it. She wrote her own little speech and read it at the funeral, which is amazing as she can be quite shy. It was very sweet." Demi of East Cowes also has father Ricky and 2 other brothers, Rory 11 and Darcy 13. Bonnie said, "Demi's new hairstyle really suits her. Thanks go to hairdresser Hannah Herbert."
Cafe slammed for wheelchair rule. A Cowes cafe and bakery has come under fire for refusing to let wheelchair users inside the premises. One customer was told he could not sit inside High Street Bakery Well Bread and was instead asked to sit outside. His family said he was unfairly treated due to his disability. A sign in the bakery window reads, "Due to restricted space, health and safety and fire regulations, we are unable to cater for wheelchair, motorised scooters, prams, pushchairs in our seated area. Outside seating, however, is available." The Equality Act requires service providers make reasonable adjustments to accommodate people with disabilities. One of the directors of Wellbred said the business was committed to ensuring the health and safety of its many satisfied customers. Chris Doggett, 25, from Luton, was waiting for his red jet home after a week-long holiday on the island with his family when they decided to visit the bakery for lunch on Friday, August the 16th. They were shocked when they were told they could not come in. Tubbs Doggett, Chris's father, said, "My wife came out of the bakery clearly really shocked and upset. I asked what was going on, and the owner said, "Read the sign." I said, "Pardon?" And she said again, "Read the sign." That was it. I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. There was no explanation, no apology. She said it was a health and safety issue. She was so rude. It felt like we were just being told to go away. It was awful. Chris has Sturge-Weber syndrome, which causes weakness in one side of his body. He is able to walk for short periods of time but requires a wheelchair for longer periods. Wellbred director Anita Fitzgerald said, "Wellbred takes its commitment to the health and safety of all its customers very seriously. It offers alternative seating for many satisfied disabled patrons." She said non-factual abuse and harassment posted online in the wake of the complaint had been referred to the police and legal representatives. A spokesperson for Disability Rights UK, a charity that supports people with disabilities, said, "Under the terms of the Equalities Act 2010, all service providers are required by law to provide reasonable adjustments for customers with disabilities. Sitting outside is not a reasonable adjustment. It is a materially different experience. Health and safety is there to keep people safe, not to keep people out. Small businesses rely on the will of the public. This is an issue of customer care, of treating people with dignity and respect. Treating people like this is not acceptable."
That's entertainment. The Isle of Wight's very own annual scooter rally was in full flow over the weekend, with up to 5,000 riders descending on ride for the occasion. The popular bank holiday event was accompanied by 3 days of music and entertainment, starting on Friday and concluding on Sunday with a traditional scooter ride-out. Bikers departed from Ryde Super Bowl, heading towards Sandown, with keen-eyed viewers lining the streets and waving them on. The ride-out was initiated on foot by Armed Forces veterans to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the D-Day landings, before the Armed Forces Scooter Club took over. The first scooter rally took place in 1980, and scooter riders and mod fans have descended on the island every August bank holiday ever since. "We're really, really pleased," said organiser Steve Robson. There was a lot of talk in the build-up to the event that it would be a quiet one, with another scooter rally taking place in Brighton, but the turnout we had really shows the strength of the Isle of Wight event. Music was provided by popular tribute bands including the Style Counsellors and Maybe Oasis, who were joined by the Shalalas and several local artists. Entertainment was held at the balcony bars on Ryde Seafront, with Friday featuring the best of British, Saturday featuring the best of 60s soul, and Sunday the best of mod. The atmosphere was fantastic, and there was so much going on, said Steve. On Sunday, even in the blazing heat, we had 300 plus people packing out the pavilion, singing along to the music and dancing on the tables. We had that craziness in one space, and then 30 feet down the road, you had the calm, soothing sound of Lizzie Back singing 60s songs, a real contrast. Every year there's always this rumour circulating, and I must have been asked more than 100 times over the weekend, is this the last scooter rally? As far as I'm concerned, as long as people keep loving it, it will never stop.
Thief stole jewellery from Gran. A thief stole 3 diamond rings worth £8,575 from his grandmother, then sold them for just £590. Thomas Howat, 24, of West Hill Road, Ryde, was sentenced at the Isle of Wight Crown Court on August the 16th after admitted 3 counts of theft at a previous hearing. The court heard Howat stole the rings between May the 20th and 27th. They were valued at £1,825, £2,050 and £4,700, but only fetched £590 when Howat sold them. Michael Mason, prosecuting, said Howat's grandparents had been looking after him, providing him with food and money. His grandmother had even bought him a car. Mr. Mason said this is a high degree of a breach of trust. When he told his grandparents what he had done, his grandfather told him to leave the house and called the police. Oscar Vincent, defending, said he was the first to admit what he had done. When he was arrested, he was full and frank with the police, and he has been genuinely remorseful from the outset. It is clear he suffers from a variety of conditions which has, in the past, caused him to be bullied. The only people he ever had any loving, supportive relationship with were his grandparents. As a result of this, he has been left devastated. Judge Roger Hetherington said, "This was a dreadful thing to do to your parents who had given you so much. Whatever issues you may have, that is no excuse for stealing your grandmother's rings." Howat was given a 24-month community order to include 40 rehabilitation activity days.
Recognition for Naval Pioneer. A Bembridge woman has been nationally recognised for her contribution to naval architecture. Blanche Cools Thornycroft, born in 1873, played an important role in testing ship designs in the First World War, undertaking experiments for the Admiralty. In 1919, she was among the first 3 female associates admitted to the Institution of Naval Architects. Blanche's life has now been added to the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, DNB, in its latest update, which was published earlier this month. The DNB is a national record of men and women who have shaped British history and culture. Blanche was born in Hammersmith, London in 1873, but moved to Bembridge when her father, shipbuilder John Isaac Thornycroft, relocated the family. She was her father's devoted assistant, testing models of boats in a 20-metre purpose-built water tank and recording results in her surviving notebooks. She went on to make a vital contribution to the design of hulls for fast motorboats needed by the Royal Navy during the war. Blanche and her mother also co-founded the Bembridge District Nursing Association, which provided access to medical care. She died at Bembridge in 1950. During her lifetime, the extent of Blanche's involvement in her father's work was not widely known.
Record numbers at Isle of Wight Steam Show. Record August bank holiday temperatures couldn't derail the success of the 45th Annual Island Steam Show. Around 7,000 people visited Haven Street to experience the family-focused extravaganza, which took place over 4 days. Commercial manager Richard Hale said, "The weekend saw a record number of people turn up to the railway for the steam show. The sun didn't deter them, and the entire show went really well. Everyone enjoyed an incredible atmosphere all weekend long." New arena acts included the action-packed Real Stunts in Action and the swine-related shenanigans of the Hog Show, both of which kept the crowds entertained. This year's show also saw more steam-powered traction engines than ever before, in addition to a steam-powered lawnmower and variety of vintage and classic cars. Live music, fairground rides, children's games and an extensive range of cuisine at the food hall all ensured that the latest chapter of the event was the most creatively and commercially successful to the date.
Plans lodged for Crossways homes. Controversial plans for a large housing development in East Cowes have been submitted to the Isle of Wight Council. Following a public consultation, developer Wight submitted its application for the Crossways development last Friday. If the application is approved, it would see 165 homes built on land between Queensgate Foundation Primary School and Crossways Road. The development would include 2, 3 and 4 bedroomed houses, as well as a number of one-bed maisonettes. 35% would be affordable housing properties. The plans have proved controversial with East Cowes residents, who have said the town's infrastructure could not cope with another large-scale housing development. Councillor Stephen Hendry, a member of the ruling Conservative administration at County Hall, previously said East Cowes and Whippingham has had its fair share of housing in recent times. We have approximately 1,700 homes built across developments such as Hawthorne Meadows, Osborne Heights, the David Wilson home site, the Barrett's Marina and other smaller developments. East Cowes and Whippingham are at capacity. Our infrastructure is being pushed to its limits. The new housing that is still being built is not being filled. Developer Wight said the new homes would be built off-site and then transported to the site, a carbon-neutral construction method that would also reduce disruption. Comments on the plans can be made on the Isle of Wight Council website at www.iwight.com.
Historic phone box is mini art gallery. A former BT telephone box, bought by Yarmouth Town Council for £1, has been turned into a miniature art gallery. Old photos of the square have been placed inside. The phone box has been renovated and repainted by town councillors Rod Corbett and Jenny Jackson, and old photos of the square placed inside for people to look at and admire. Rod said, "The town council was given the opportunity to buy the phone box for £1, which we did. We thought about turning it into a library, but in the end decided to put up framed pictures of the town. The project has been supported by Yarmouth Town Trust and research enthusiast Colin Wilcox. The pictures mainly show the town square in the late 1800s. We can change the pictures as and when," said Rod. "They are there for visitors and passers-by to enjoy. They can just turn around and see how the square used to look in days gone by. More old photographs of the town can be found at yarmouthtowntrust.org/public archives.
Celebration of 100 years of horticulture. Bembridge Horticultural Society celebrated its 100th annual open show on Saturday, complete with prize-winning exhibitions from several enthusiasts. There were more than 200 exhibits at Bembridge Village Hall, with show regular Andrew Nightingale winning 6 cups. Ian Stock won both the Woodruff Cup with his tray of vegetables and the Banksian Medal for the largest total prize money in all horticultural classes, floral arrangements excluded. The show had a new trophy this year, the Joan Crabtree Cup, which was awarded to Ian for his tray of vegetables, the best exhibition in show. All prizes were presented by Sir Peter Bottomley, Lord Brabazon, who is Deputy Lieutenant of the Isle of Wight. Show Secretary and Cup winner Hazel Ransom said, "We were really pleased. There was a lovely atmosphere. It was very well attended and a wonderful show."
New blue badge rules. New qualifications for blue badge drivers will come into effect today, Friday. The scheme has been extended to help people who have enduring and substantial disabilities that are non-visible. Currently, more than 8,000 islanders have blue badges. Deputy Isle of Wight Council leader Councillor Stuart Hutchinson said, "This is a national change and we are advising those who think they may now qualify to look closely at the new criteria. Applications can be made on the www.gov.uk website and must include evidence of a qualifying condition. They will be processed locally by the council. Due to the strict criteria, the council said not all those who apply will be successful. A list of frequently asked questions has also been published on the council's website.
New leader appointed at Youth Trust. A new chief executive has taken the reins at the Isle of Wight Youth Trust. The charity has appointed former Children in Need leader Claire Cannock to the role. The Youth Trust is the island's largest independent provider of youth mental health services and supports more than 1,000 young people every year through its counselling service. Claire said she was looking forward to further embedding a youth-led approach at the charity, acknowledging the efforts of its previous chief executive, Mairead Healy. "I'm really excited to be joining the Isle of Wight Youth Trust and continuing the valuable work that Mairead has developed, working alongside our talented team of counsellors, staff, volunteers and young people," she said. "I'm particularly looking forward to listening to the young people on the island and using their insight to inform and develop our programmes and activities to support young people's mental health and well-being. I'm keen to work with other providers to ensure a holistic and connected offer, ensuring young people can flourish across the island." Trust Chair Malcolm Marshall said, "We are delighted to be welcoming Claire to the Youth Trust family. Claire brings with her a wealth of knowledge and experience of working with young people across the charity sector, including in her most recent role as part of the senior leadership team at BBC Children in Need. Our vision is a future where all young islanders are empowered to overcome barriers and achieve their potential, and Claire will lead the Youth Trust to continue serving our young people. Mairead has left the charity to join Amnesty International." Mr. Marshall said, "Mairead steered the Trust through a period of transformation, and we'd like to thank her for the brilliant job that she did and wish her great success with her exciting new role." And it's goodbye for this week from Brian.
And it's goodbye from Chris.
Hello, this is Laura.
And Megan.
And we'll be reading the second half of the County Press. Firstly, the letters. Rail Tunnel, the answer, from Chris Preston in Cowes. Lord Adonis's recent intervention stokes the continuing debate on the project for a new tunnel. There is little new in this. Parliamentary authorisation was already obtained in 1902 for a tunnel from Lymington, the funds for which were proposed to be raised by the American financier Pierpont Morgan, and the Medina Tunnel Act of 1892 authorised construction of a tunnel between East and West Cowes, which was sadly not built. Besides the economics, which are very much open to debate, the main practical objection to a Solent tunnel is the problem of bringing yet more cars to the island's roads. Has the solution of a purely rail tunnel been considered? This would probably be cheaper and allow goods to be brought to the island more efficiently. Tourists could visit comfortably and quickly using public transport around the island, supported perhaps by hire facilities for electric vehicles, which would contribute to the island's green image and attraction.
And continuing on that theme, here is a letter from Felicity Fair Thompson from Sandown. Many reasons his lordship is wrong. Perhaps Lord Adonis might consider the advantages of not having a bridge or a tunnel across to the Isle of Wight. Yes, his planned ferry was full, but waiting by beautiful Portsmouth Harbour, is that such a problem? Why was he in such a hurry? Working in London, every hour counts. I can remember that myself, but maybe calming down is the very thing some of us need. A hugely expensive fixed link would cause no end of problems for the island. A bridge would hinder shipping. A tunnel would create pollution on this side of the Solent. Here we have a quiet countryside, woods and farmland. There are narrow lanes, country roads and small villages, and long coast roads which are not motorways. Extra traffic going faster isn't what the Isle of Wight needs. Being just another suburb of Southampton or Portsmouth isn't what the island is all about. Yes, we are 50 years behind the world, but lucky us. Our old Island Line original London tube trains need a lick of paint, but they run, and they have helpful guards on board who can give excellent tourist and travel advice. We can show off original steam trains at Hayden Street and guide you round Osborne House, where Queen Victoria spent her summer holidays. We have a dinosaur museum and beaches where you can find ancient fossils. We have a 1,000-year-old Norman castle at Carisbrooke and coastal forts that have kept watch out to sea from the Spanish Armada and Waterloo to the Battle of Britain and D-Day in the Second World War. We celebrate history here. We have fresh sea air to breathe and time to enjoy the beauties of living by the coast. And this is what we offer our visitors. Not speed, but time. Time to slow down and enjoy the holiday break so many want to take over here. Not city smog, but fresh air.
Yarmouth second home owners do not need a school. From Peter Isaacs in Yarmouth. I have a sign on my house in Yarmouth which says, "Keep Yarmouth School in Yarmouth." Having listened to the arguments and read letters on the subject of primary schooling in the West Wight, I have reluctantly changed my mind. I attended the Yarmouth School between 1947 and 1948. I then transferred to St Saviour's in Totland. If the problem is unaffordable overcapacity, then a reduction in places is obviously necessary. The fact Yarmouth Primary School has very few pupils who live in Yarmouth is largely the fault of past Yarmouth residents who have sold their properties as second homes. My guess is about 45% of residential properties in the town are second homes and occupied during holiday periods only. The trend is increasing. South Street has an even higher percentage of second homes. My own family have second homes here, and I did the same for some years before returning to reside permanently in 2009. I am not advocating an end to this practice, just emphasising an inevitable consequence, a lack of children of primary school age. If the majority of primary school age children in the West Wight reside within the All Saints catchment area, then logically, All Saints should be retained. Its poor performance can be improved, if necessary, by changing staff and governors. Sadly, Yarmouth Primary School should close. If it is necessary to rebuild All Saints to accommodate the freshwater resident children who now attend Yarmouth Primary School, and the few Yarmouth resident children, so be it. A 2-year period of temporary relocation to Yarmouth seems to be a sensible solution, and, contrary to what some parents believe, should not be a devastating blow to their children's education. as I'm confident the Yarmouth Primary School staff and governors will relish the challenge. I live opposite Yarmouth Primary School and will be sad to see it close. Unless enforceable covenants exist to prevent it, I suppose the site will be developed for new housing, at high prices which only second home buyers can afford.
And now from Roger and Jenny Crates from Freshwater. Following last year's heatwave, when the food in our Western Yar dried up and the swans and other wildfowl were in desperate need of food, we would really beg readers all over the island to do what they can to help the swans in their areas if the weather gets really hot. This includes the canoe lake at Ryde and the seafront lake at Sandown. The swan family here at Freshwater were leaving the river and walking to the main road to try to find food, and thankfully we were able to feed them until they were well again. Swan pellets, mixed corn, or brown bread will save them from starvation. Scientists have found their systems are able to process bread to give their body systems protein. Swans are such beautiful birds. They were dying in the Thames Valley last year, and we don't want that to happen here on the island. Thank you everyone, and God bless you for caring.
We expect rating to improve, from Maggie Oldham, Chief Executive, Isle of Wight NHS Trust. I wanted to share a heartfelt thank you to our patients, carers, volunteers and staff. The NHS on the island has faced many challenges in recent years, and without the support of our community, it would not have been possible to improve our services. Across the country, health and care services face difficulties in recruiting and retaining people with the right skills, and there is significant financial pressure to manage. Dealing with those national challenges at the same time as improving the quality of services we provide is what my team and I are focused on. We set the goal of getting to good in 2020, which means significantly improving our rating from the Care Quality Commission, CQC, and leaving special measures. I am pleased to tell you that in many areas we are making real progress. We expect the CQC to publish its report in the coming days, and it will help us see exactly where we need to focus our energy. We know there is a lot of work still to do. Before the inspection, we self-assessed and predicted some of our services would be rated good, and the Trust's overall rating would improve from inadequate to requires improvement. We won't know for sure until the report is published, but I am hopeful it will reflect the progress we have made over the last year. I am sure it will identify areas where we need to do more to improve, and you have my commitment to do so, along with everyone working at the Isle of Wight NHS Trust. Whatever the final report says, I want to thank the people of the Isle of Wight for their continued support and Trust staff for their dedication and hard work. Together we will continue to improve health services on the island and make sure they are sustainable for future generations. Following on from that letter, there's another one which is linked. Don't forget the elderly, from Isabel Rooscall, Newport. Now that St Mary's is in the money to the tune of £48 million, perhaps it could use the money to help the waiting list go down. I've been in pain since April with a small tear in my meniscus in the left knee, a simple operation. But I've just found out I'm 900th on the list. It's disgusting. Why are us old people put on longer waiting lists? Are they hoping we shuffle off rather than the NHS paying to help us live a bit longer?
And now from Brian Huff, 116 Fields Farm Road, Hyde, Cheshire. I am acting on behalf of the authorities at the United Nations Memorial Cemetery, Busan, South Korea, where more than 800 British servicemen are buried. The authorities there wish to obtain photographs of those servicemen interred there, and also of those who died but have no known grave, and that's more than 200. Copies of the photographs will be placed in the man's records and will also be displayed on the walls of the Cemetery Hall of Remembrance for all time. The following names are just some of the young men from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight area who gave their lives in Korea. Wing Commander John R. Baldwin, RAF, Lieutenant Corporal Derek D. Mew, Private Donald L. Hobden, Fusilier Basil L. Cox, Private Ronald J. Burton, Lieutenant Corporal Derek D. Blair, James Goodman, Pilot Stanley W. E. Ford, Royal Navy, Private Eric E. Harrison, Private Alan L. Saunders, and Lieutenant Brigadier Ralph Archer, and Private George F. Harris. Any family or friend who lost a loved one in the Korean War, 1950 to 53, and wish to take part can send the photograph to me. If more details are required, you can phone me on 0161 368 5622 or 0746 703 7742. You can also email bhough, is Hough, bhough 116 at gmail.com.
Need remains from D.E. Hazel, Totland. Many years ago, a neighbour, so impressed by the help he had received from the mental health service in Freshwater, asked me to go along and see for myself. In small ways, I have been able to offer support to the group, but for me, from day one, the need for that service has never been in doubt. Councillor Claire Mosdell, in the County Press on the 2nd of August, says the service is a delivery model of a bygone era. Come up with one that also works, Councillor Modell. The need is not a bygone one.
And a letter called Head Scratcher from Ian Mackey, Totland Bay. Island MP Bob Seeley has condemned the island housing plan for being too expensive. However, this completely contradicts his position we should have a university. The average UK university has 15,000 students, requiring around 4,000 staff. How can he reconcile a rejection of the island housing plan and its proposed 10,000 new dwellings while wanting to provide accommodation for nearly 20,000 extra people? As befits a former PR person, he is trotting out platitudes to make him appear in tune with islanders' wishes. And one more letter. This is from Tina Snow of Newport. I would like to thank the islanders who, although I am not aware of their presence, watch out for me on a daily basis and step in and offer assistance when necessary. I am totally blind and was walking down Staples Road with my guide dog Quiz, a black Labrador, on Wednesday, August the 7th. Just before School Lane, the pavement was completely blocked by barriers, which directed me into the oncoming traffic with no safe pedestrian access. Quiz and I got round the first set of barriers, but I was in the road with traffic whizzing past me with no protection. When I got onto the pavement, I found another set of barriers. I was shaken up and close to tears, knowing I would be injured if I attempted to go round the second set of barriers. 99% of the vehicles ignored my pleas for assistance. I would like to extend my warmest thanks and gratitude to Matt Waldock, who said he would park up and came back to assist me. He got me out of a potentially dangerous situation. Island roads are liaising with the so-called utility company to ensure they do not breach health and safety guidelines in future. I would also like to praise Clancy Dockwah for their professionalism when they were putting in the water main on staplers. They were always willing to assist me with a smile in their voice and good humour.
Now we're moving on to Wight Memories. 1940s Work Party Wages War on Weeds by Helen Williams. The Vectis 40s Vintage, V4V, a group of like-minded folk who enjoy all things 1940s, together with the Bembridge Heritage Society, undertook a joint activity to restore one of the few remaining Second World War pillboxes, situated in a lay-by not far from the Yar Bridge. Some years ago, the Bembridge folk cleaned, repaired and restored the historic landmark, installing access steps and informative signage, and they made a lovely job of it. Inevitably, nature always finds a way, and over time the pillbox had begun to be reclaimed. We found litter, weeds had re-emerged, and signage had been obscured. I noticed this, and together with some other members of V4V, we dressed in 40s clothes and made a work party to help out with a big clean-up. We were joined by several folk from the Heritage Society, and we had a bit of a party in the lay-by, brewing up tea and eating cake. A lot of hard work was done by all, amassing 6 huge bags of weeds and 2 black sacks of rubbish, and now the site looks really good, and you can read the signs again. V4V loved the fashion, the music, the history, and the spirit of community in the 1940s. We do not glorify war, but we think there is much from that decade worth preserving. Local history and tales of courage, for example. We have film shows, dances, picnics, outings, and lots more. We drink tea and have a lot of fun, and we are always looking for new members. For more information, contact lapwingo, that's all one word, at yahoo.co.uk. Bembridge Heritage Society is a group of volunteers who have opened and staff the wonderful Heritage Centre in Bembridge Village. There is a modest entry charge, but a huge amount to see, and it is well worth a visit. Among the many exhibits, there is further information on both the pillbox and Operation Pluto.
And now news from Westminster and the Island by Bob Seeley, MP. NHS cash is welcome. Early this month, I popped into St Mary's to see how our island NHS will spend the 48 million funding boost we've received from Boris Johnson's new government, part of a £1.8 billion additional funding nationally. The 48 million is the largest one-off capital investment the Isle of Wight NHS has received for many years, and the only place in the southeast to be granted the extra money. So I was keen to hear from hospital staff how the cash will be spent. This money will go towards rebuilding the emergency department and significantly improving patient care by implementing advanced technology. This isn't a case of buying new computers, but revolutionising patient care, allowing medical staff to spend more time with patients and less time travelling. I spent a morning with Brian Martin, the man in charge of telemedicine and IT integration. He highlighted examples of innovative technology such as the patient telehealth box. The box means more islanders will be able to be monitored from home or in a place of care, and it can be mastered by anyone. This technology will lead to fewer mainland and hospital visits, more in-home and in-nursing home care, less chance of a patient entering crisis, and a better quality of life in their own environment, especially old and vulnerable patients. More broadly, telemedicine means more time can be devoted to treating patients. By winning this investment, the island will become a national leader in this field. NHS staff do an outstanding job. However, there are problems with how the NHS has been run here. This is being fixed. The change will not happen overnight, but we have strong new management determined to make a difference, which islanders will see in the coming months and years. A key part of that is the Isle of Wight Health and Care Plan being published next month for our 140,000 residents. Its priorities are investing in community services, transforming mental health, and improving productivity through integration. I am working with our NHS team to make sure they have the resources they need. When I became MP, one of the promises I made was I would make sure our voice was heard in Westminster. That is now happening.
And now we move on to My View by Catherine James. How sport ruined keeping fit for a whole generation. I'm not in the business of knocking those who write for the county press. I'll leave that to the rabid keyboard warriors of the paper's online comments section. However, after reading my fellow columnist Malcolm Mine's latest piece about his men-only cricket club tour, with its drinking games and ridiculous nicknames, I got to thinking about sport in general, and why I found my eyes rolling at the prospect of a bunch of lads using sport as an excuse for intoxication and silly behaviour. I'm a bit of a sports refusenik. I'm happy to include some gentle activity as part of my daily routine, stairs, walking, the occasional bit of cycling as a mean of transport, but I haven't participated in any team games since I was made to at school. Many a time I kept to the outer edges of a rain-lashed hockey pitch, praying the hard ball wouldn't come my way. Volleyball played with a heavy stippled basketball instead of the correct lightweight leather ball made my aching forearms sting and go red. I was terrified of cricket. And it seems I'm not alone. My sedentary lifestyle is echoed by many middle-aged people in this country, so much so that Dr. Anne Elliott, a senior lecturer in sports science at Middlesex University, wrote a thesis about the matter in 2017. Having interviewed many reluctant exercisers, she concluded some were put off sport for life by bad experiences in school PE classes.
Admittedly, my own experience of PE lessons wasn't a patch on young Billy Caspers, the anti-hero of the classic 1969 children's film Kes. Humiliated by teacher Mr. Sugden before he even got on the pitch, tiny Billy is placed in goal, a position he fills neither physically nor skillfully. Bullying Sugden dominates the pitch, pushing boys, even slapping one round the head before scoring a goal by blatantly cheating. Like most sports, Billy Casper's football game was brutally competitive. But perhaps games would be more appealing to people like me if there were minimal rules and no scorekeeping. Just running around, making shapes and having fun. How about a ball each, so that even the most unathletic have a chance of joining in? Malcolm Mime shoehorned a clumsy reference to feminism into his article about his male bonding cricket tour. Perhaps he has something there, though. Would feminists turn a social event into one where there was ritual humiliation, public embarrassment, and the fear of being the unlucky soul that is the loser in some weird comedy hat tradition? Overthinking it all a bit more, I wonder if the national obsession with competitive sport, particularly football, with its chanting, tribalism and underdogs, could be a metaphor for today's politics. Is the new, ridiculously nicknamed Prime Minister actually blonde, bullish Mr. Sugden, disregarding the cries of a rule-abiding players, while some of us are Billy Casper, witnessing impotently from the edge of the field the increasing disparity and open-mouthed incredulity at Sugden's single-minded desire to win at all costs?
And now we move on to What's On. First of all, South Wight. The Knighton and Whitwell Horticultural Autumn Show will be held at Knighton Village Hall next Saturday, that's September the 7th, from 2 p.m. till 4 p.m. There will be a raffle and refreshments will be available. Southern Water will hold a community outreach event offering advice on cheaper tariffs, services for vulnerable customers and water saving tips at the Central Car Park in Ventnor on Monday, 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. The Shanklin Town Brass Band will play on the Ralston Bandstand at 3 p.m. on Sunday. The Sandown and Shanklin Military Band will play at 8 p.m. on Wednesday. The Alzheimer's Cafe takes place on Wednesday, 6 p.m. till 8:30 p.m. at Salisbury Gardens in Ventnor. This is a free informal meeting for people living with dementia, their families, friends and carers. For further information, call 220200. The Friends of Shanklin Theatre will hold a coffee, cake and chat event tomorrow, Saturday, 10 a.m. till noon in the theatre green room. Come along for a chat about the theatre and volunteering. Homemade cakes will be provided. And braiding men in sheds meet on Thursday, 10 a.m. till noon at Braiding Youth Club. Everyone is welcome to make things, learn things and drink tea. There will also be a memorial match for Shanklin cricket legend. A special cricket match in memory of Ireland and Shanklin cricket legend Dave Porter will be held at Westhill a week tomorrow. The match will be between a young Shanklin team with other Islanders and one comprising Shanklin Cricket Club stars of yesteryear, selected and skippered by Dave's stepson, David Griffiths, who recently retired from county cricket with Hampshire and Kent. Also returning after 25 years will be former Wales scrum half Jonathan Griffiths, who regularly opened for Shanklin. A number of Dave's former Shanklin teammates during the club's successful teams of the 80s and 90s will make a return. They will be joined by current players James Lucy and Greg Dean, Colts at Shanklin under Dave's guidance. The match starts at 1 p.m.
And now West Wight, an illustrated talk entitled Pre-Raphaelite Sisters will be given by leading authority Dr. Jan Marsh at Dimbalur Museum and Galleries, Freshwater, at 7:30 p.m. next Sunday, September the 8th. It will preview an exhibition Dr. Marsh is curating at the National Portrait Gallery, which opens in October, looking at models, painters, artistic partners and muses. Tickets cost £10 and are available from Dimbalur or by calling 730930. And then the Yarmouth Community Hall will reopen following refurbishment works on Monday with yoga between 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. On Tuesday, there will be a coffee morning between 10:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. Anyone who would like to play an acoustic instrument would be welcome. On Wednesday, it's Tai Chi between 11 a.m. and noon, and again between 12:30 and 1:30. The West Wight Bridge Club meets on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. The Mums, Bumps and Babies group will meet next Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:45. And then Freshwater and Totland Archive Group will host a talk entitled Pictures by Rosemary Cooper from the Carisbrooke Castle Museum at Wesley Hall, Brookside Road, Freshwater, next Friday, that's September the 7th, at 7 p.m. It will explore the origins of sand art and the lives of Victorian sand artists. £3 entry, refreshments available, and all welcome.
For the East Wight, A family fun day will be held at Tesco's Ride between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. next Friday, September the 6th, featuring a military assault course, magic show, enchanted isle characters, dames, swing boats, a barbecue and milkshake bar. The event has been organised by Charities Together to raise funds for island charities Cats Protection, MPCT, the White Brainy Bunch, WI, Aspire Ride, Ride Rotary Club, Isle of Wight Search and Rescue and Vectis Radio. Southern Water will be holding community outreach events offering advice on cheaper tariffs, services for vulnerable customers and water-saving tips at the Green, St Helens on Tuesday and Ryde Town Square on Wednesday. Friendly rubber bridge sessions are held on Tuesday afternoons from 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. at Seagrove Pavilion, Seaview, £3 per session. For further information, call Pam Edgerton on 616 346. Ryde Scrabble Club meets at the George Street Centre, Ryde, on Monday evenings, 6:45 p.m. for a 7 p.m. start. The usual cost is £2, but for new members, the first 2 evenings are free. Ryde Recorded Music Society will meet at Ryde Methodist Church, Garfield Road, at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday. Yoga classes are held at Ryde Chiropractic Clinic at 7:15 a.m, 6 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. on Mondays, and at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesdays. For further information, call Nikki on 07799 032 824. A Citizens Advice Isle of Wight and Ryde Aspire drop-in session will be held at Aspire Ryde on Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Advisors will be on hand to offer information and advice. All are welcome. That's that.
Central Wight, Southern Water again will hold a community outreach event offering advice on cheaper tariffs, services for vulnerable customers and water-saving tips at Asda, Newport on Thursday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And the Islanders for Europe group will meet at the Riverside Centre on Monday at 6:30 p.m. The meeting is open to anyone who supports the UK's continuing membership of the European Union. And then North Wight, a couple more things. Southern Water will hold a community outreach event offering advice on cheaper tariffs, services for vulnerable customers and water-saving tips at Aldi Cows next Friday, September the 6th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then also at Cowes Library has a friendly and experienced family historian offering one-to-one sessions helping people research their family history. Sessions are held on Monday mornings at an hourly rate of £6 and must be booked in advance. Alternative times can be arranged. For further information, call the library on 293341. There's just a couple of other things. Gurnard Village Cottage Garden Society meets on Wednesday at Gurnard Village Hall, Worsley Road at 7:30 p.m. And Sing About, the music therapy group, meets on Thursday at 2 p.m. at St James's Church, East Cowes.
Art House Films. There is no shortage of cinema gore to sink your teeth into this week. Tomorrow, Brading Roman Villa is screening Mary, Queen of Scots at 7 p.m. On the same evening, the travelling film show's final screening, Grease, will be shown at Motterston Gardens at 6:30 p.m. On Tuesday, Ventnor Arts Club will show Border at 7:30 p.m. On Wednesday, the club will screen the first of its Peter Strickland films, Burbian Sound Studio, followed on Thursday by his most recent film, In Fabric. The film follows the journey of a cursed but strikingly beautiful blood-red dress as it passes from person to person with devastating consequences, starring Marianne Jean-Baptiste.
And professional actor Graham Pountney of Peak Practice and Howard's Way fame is taking on the lead role in the latest production at the Apollo Theatre. Suddenly at Home is a classic thriller by Francis Durbridge, the master of suspense. The lead role of Glenn Howard will be played by Pountney, whose television credits include Howard's Way, Peak Practice, Doctors, Hustle and New Tricks. He agreed to step in after a cast member had to withdraw. Set in the 1970s in an exclusive London flat, Suddenly at Home is a story of love and greed, full of surprises, unexpected twists and intriguing characters that will keep the audience guessing and on the edge of their seats. It is a murder mystery with a difference, as the audience finds out whodunit early on. The real mystery is whether or not the murderer will get away with it. Nothing is quite as it seems, and the tension is tangible. Suddenly at Home is on from September the 6th to the 14th.
And now some other articles from the County Press. In the gardening section, top tips. Continue tying tomatoes, and once they have set 6 trusses, pinch out the growing tip, encouraging the plant to put its energy into producing fruit. It's time to sow more lettuces and non-bolting spinach in a partially shaded spot if you have one. It's also time to sow your radishes. Keep picking your runner and dwarf beans and make sure they are well watered in the dry weather. Separate supermarket bought herbs and put into several pots to allow individual plants to develop. This is a great money saver. Thin only new growth of lavender.
And 60 million year record broken in Ventnor. A match is set to be made in the heavenly surroundings of Ventnor Botanic Garden. Shortly after a male flowering cone appeared on one of the garden's Cycads revoluta cycads, a female cone has formed on another. This is the first time a male and a female have flowered at the same time in the UK and presents the garden with the opportunity to transfer pollen and generate seeds. In fact, it is the first time this will have occurred in the UK for 60 million years. Experts attribute flowering of the primitive plant to climate change. During its reign as the dominant flora on the Earth from 280 million years ago until the evolution of flowering plants, the climate had naturally high levels of CO2.
And that's all we've got time for this week. So it's goodbye from Laura
and Megan.
The Isle of Wight Council has informed Site for Wight that a consultation has been launched regarding changes to the concessionary travel scheme. Here follows the press release with information regarding the changes. Consultation launched on concessionary travel scheme changes. On the 16th of July, the Isle of Wight Council launched a consultation on potential changes to its current concessionary travel scheme. The proposed changes do not affect free travel arrangements for older and disabled residents who wish to travel on island buses between 9:30 a.m. and 11 p.m, but do affect other travel times. Under the changes, proposed free travel for a travelling companion of a disabled person would also be retained for bus journeys between 9:30 a.m. and 11 p.m. If agreed through the consultation process, the Council could also include free travel for care leavers. The island's concessionary travel scheme cost the council £4.72 million in 2017 to 18 for both mandatory and additional discretionary elements. The new proposals amend the current scheme, which was introduced in 2008, and would align the island to many other parts of the country and enable the council to make savings in the process. Cabinet Member for Public Transport, Councillor Ian Ward, said, "For some time we have been looking carefully at the extra discretionary elements we provide for islanders, above and beyond what is available in many other parts of England. This consultation will seek people's views on how we can fairly and acceptably amend the scheme to bring us in line with a lot of other parts of the country and generate savings to benefit islanders in other service areas. We are also looking at the issue of medical appointments and whether the removal of the pre-9:30am free travel element would disadvantage some people, and through discussions with the clinical commissioning group, whether this could be overcome in terms of appointment times to ensure those affected can still enjoy free bus travel." Notes to editors. 1. The 12-week consultation focuses on the removal of discretionary elements provided on the island, unlike many other parts of the country where these are no longer in place. The council is the only local authority in the South East and one of only 5 of the 89 outside London which provides additional concessions above the statutory eligibility criteria. 2. The government introduced the mandatory English National Concessionary Travel Scheme in April 2008, providing free off-peak local bus travel to eligible older and disabled people in England. There are 7 applicable categories of disability covered by the concession. See below. The off-peak period is any time on Saturdays, Sundays or bank holidays for 24 hours, and on any other day between 9:30am and 11pm. 3. The concession is administered by travel concession authorities, such as the Isle of Wight Council. 4. The Isle of Wight Council decided to offer additional discretionary free travel elements beyond the mandatory scheme from April 2008. 5. The latest figures show that 31,471 older people and 3,721 qualifying disabled people resident on the island benefit under the mandatory national scheme of free travel on buses between 9:30am and 11pm. 6. In 2010, the council removed the additional discretionary element for older people, but not for those with a disability. 7. The current discretionary extras recommended for removal are the new Islander card, which provides additional free travel on island buses and Island Line for those with a severe and enduring mental health problem. The new Islander card element, which gives free travel on island buses and Island Line to a travelling companion of a person with a severe and enduring mental health problem, and of those who meet the national disability criteria. The intention is to retain free travel for appropriate accompanying travel companions between 9:30am and 11pm and at any time on Saturdays, Sundays or bank holidays for 24 hours. Free travel on island buses from 11 at night to 9:30 in the morning for all qualifying disabled people, except on Saturdays, Sundays and bank holidays, when free 24-hour travel will remain. Free travel on Island Line for all qualifying disabled people, as free travel is available on bus services operating in parallel. 9. The council is also looking at a number of affected groups to ensure they are not disadvantaged by the potential changes, for example care leavers qualifying through the disability criteria. 10. The statutory disability eligibility criteria for qualifying under the national scheme are as follows: blind or partially sighted, profoundly or severely deaf, without speech in any language, a disability or injury which has a substantial and long-term adverse effect on their ability to walk, without arms or has long-term loss of the use of both arms, a learning disability that is a state of arrested or incomplete development of mind which includes significant impairment of intelligent and social functioning. Would the applicant be refused the grant of a licence to drive a motor vehicle under Part 3, Section 92 of the Road Traffic Act 1988, medical fitness, other than on grounds of persistent misuse of drugs or alcohol? 11. The consultation can be accessed via the Council's website using the following link. This is quite a long link, so I will say it twice. www.surveymonkey.co.uk/r/concessionary travel scheme consultation. That was www.surveymonkey.co.uk/r/concessionary travel scheme consultation. The consultation started on Tuesday the 16th of July 2019 and ends at midday on Tuesday the 8th of October 2019. 12. A list of frequently asked questions is also available to help people understand what the changes may mean. And this can be found on www.iow.gov.uk/concessionary travel. That was www.iow.gov.uk/concessionary travel. That's the end of the press release. As well as the online consultation, Site for Wight has been invited to attend a stakeholder engagement workshop on the 20th of September. We are only allowed to attend with one single representative of Site for Wight, as per the Council's guideline for the event. I would like to take with me any feedback or comments from members who would be affected by these changes and would like their views to be heard. If you want to make a statement regarding the changes, you can email me on members@iwsb.org.uk. You can write to me, Laura Jasper, at Site for Wight, or you can call on 522205. In order to allow me to make as many views as possible in the small time allowed, can you please ensure that your statement is concise? Also, could you please let me know if you would like to remain anonymous? The closing date for feedback and comments to be submitted to me is Friday the 13th of September. If you've got any further questions, please get in contact. Thank you.
Scaffolding news for Friday the 30th of August 2019. The list of known footway obstructions for works including scaffolding, hoarding, also details of skips, cranes and cherry pickers. We are unable to include end dates as many are extended on a week-by-week basis. Cows area. Current scaffolds. Cameos, Bath Road, Cows. 43 Sun Hill, Cows. Current skips. 38 Moor Green Road, Cows. 5 Bayview Road, Gurnard. Current hoarding. Northwood Primary School, Wyatt's Lane, Northwood. Newport area. Current scaffolds. Precision Hair, 50 St James Street, Newport. Age UK 114A Pyle Street, Newport. 113 Pyle Street. The Body Shop, 52 High Street, Newport. Pending scaffolds. Trespass, 44 High Street, Newport. 34 C Street, Newport. Pending cherry picker, Sheet Corner Cottage, Main Road, Chillerton. Current skip, 97 Gunville Road, Newport.
Ride area. Current scaffolds, 35 to 36 High Street Ride. Flats, 31 to 36 Marymead Close Ride. Boots 170 High Street Ride, 43 Nelson Street Ride, 25 High Street Ride, 41A and 41B Osborne Road Ride, Olivo Restaurant 32 to 33 Union Street Ride, Liz Earle Union Street Ride, 6 to 7 Union Street Ride, 6 Anglesey Street Ride, pending cherry picker, Wootton Industrial Estate, White Rails Road, Wootton. Current skips, 10 Prince Street Ride, pending skips, 13 Surrey Street Ride, and Sandown and Shanklin area. Current scaffolds, 23 High Street Shanklin, pending cherry picker, junction of Town Lane and York Road, Sandown. Current hoardings, Premier Inn 1 to 9 Esplanade, Sandown. Current mobile crane, Premier Inn 1 to 9 Esplanade, Sandown. Current skips, 23 Wilton Road, Shanklin, and pending skips 44 Moorview, Godshill, and Shanklin Towers, Prospect Road, Shanklin.
Ventnor area. Current scaffolds. Corner of Trinity Road and Madeira Road, Ventnor, 1 Boniface Road and into Trinity Road, Ventnor. Current skips, 16 South Street, Ventnor, 55 Mitchell Avenue, Ventnor. West Wight area. Current scaffolds, Hursts 9 School Green Road, Freshwater, Oak Cottage, Farriers Lane, Shorwell. Current skips, Grassmere, Graham Road, Yarmouth. Vehicle crossings under construction, Marvel Lodge, Marvel Lane, Newport, 25 Queens Road, Newport, 13 Ashy Road, Ryde, opposite Bridle Way R38, Newnham Road, Ryde, 10 Palmer's Road, Wootton, 18 Donington Drive, Shanklin, Old School Place, Cockleton Lane, Gurnard, Avalon, Victoria Crescent, Ryde, 12 Cooper Road, Newport.